Hey, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So, actually, hope you're having an awesome brand new year, 2025. It's crazy. This year I want to approach YouTube a little bit differently. I think I want to get a little bit more specific and challenge myself to spend the entire year building robot-themed ideas. Maybe it's a physical robot, or maybe like a robot vehicle, or like a robot weapon. So I think I want to try and do a full year of everything revolving around some sort of robotics, maybe even build out a world or an idea. So I don't know, that's my thought. I've got this little Tic Tac container and I've got an idea, so come on, let's do it. Actually, you know what? I was digging around and I found this little nasal spray container, and I think I got an even cooler idea. Come on, let's do it. Okay, so I'm starting off with this Lost in Space toy, a Mr. Freeze head, and this nasal spray. And right away I can tell it's not quite gonna fit. It's kind of pushing those arms out. So I'm just taking a marker and just kind of trimming out a kind of a semicircle there so that nasal spray will slide right in. And I'm just disassembling this spray because I want to try and take this Mr. Freeze head and somehow put it inside of this capsule, and I'll figure that out a little bit later. So first thing, the sticker peeled right off. I got this little clip, and I thought I could just snip that off and have a little hole where I could stick a wire down, but it didn't go away enough where I feel comfortable with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the entire toy apart and carefully just kind of remove that little piece there, pull it out, and there's gonna be a little hole there that I'll utilize later. So I'm gonna put this back together. And these tank treads are nice because I can paint those separately. Now I got a hole in the back here, so I thought maybe this little vent, that didn't work. This thing, didn't love it. Then I found this Lego piece and I was like, this is perfect. It fits really nice with the piece. I like it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of CA glue, just dab that on there, glue this down, and that's gonna work great. Now, the Mr. Freeze head had these two little black clips. They don't really have any function for the toy inside the dome, so I was able to snip those off, and I'll put it on top of the bottle here, but I don't love those threads. So I have this scrap little copper pipe. That will hide the threads. I'm going to have to do something with that to fancy it up a little bit, but putting a little bit of CA glue there, and I've got a little gap on the side, so I went ahead and filled it with some CA glue, some baking soda, and that will just help hold everything together. And I'm just kind of checking it out, seeing how it looks, and then I'm going to draw this little pencil line. And the reason I'm drawing this pencil line is I want to put these little beads that will be rivets or maybe lights halfway in between the line where the head will sit and the bottom of the copper pipe there, so the lights will go nice and evenly around the neck portion. It's looking pretty nice, and yeah, I like how this is fitting. The head is a really nice pressure fit in the lid because it's so tight, so I was able to just kind of force it on there. This worked out for me because I didn't have to do any CA glue, because a lot of times CA glue will actually fog up a clear plastic, so this worked out really good. I need to build an arm, and I don't know exactly what to do, so I have these kid magnetic build system. It's balls and magnets and then some scrap tubing that I'm just kind of experimenting with. I'm not exactly sure what to do. I think the forearm's a little bit long, so I went ahead and made the forearm a little bit shorter, dremeled off the edges of one of those magnets so I got a really nice pressure fit in there. And then I'll take this little final faction hand, got a magnet on there, like that little claw thing. That's kind of cool. And that seems like it's going to work pretty nice. But then once I put it on the robot, everything was really floppy. So I need to take the bicep, and I think if I glue the elbow joint to the bicep, that will actually help it from flopping all around. But that shoulder ball is not working. So I'm going to use a peg system with this little piece of polystyrene here. And this will help have a nice little friction fit. So I'm kind of just gluing this little final faction piece on here. Got my peg there. I'll be able to glue all this together. I'm going to use my little ream tool that one of my viewers sent me. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. This thing is a lifesaver. Reams out holes really nice. It's actually a tool used for RC cars in the bodies for painting. So anyways, if you need one of those, go check it out. Fitting that in there, really tight fit. It's super nice. Now the forearm moves around really nice. And I think if I glue this, I think it's going to be too much pressure on it to break it. So I am going to take this little rod here, and there's already a hole in the top. So I'm going to just drill a hole through my polystyrene tube and almost make like a little peg system to help when I move that shoulder joint up and down so it doesn't break the glue. The hand here, I have a flat square magnet on it, or like a cylinder magnet, but it didn't give me as much flexibility in the wrist. So I thought if I use this little steel bearing, maybe I can get a little bit more movement in the wrist. So I went ahead and drilled a little hole in the Final Faction claw, and it popped right over that. So I'll glue that together, and once I glue that together, this is awesome. I love this. It gives me a little bit more mobility with the wrist. Not that I needed it, but I like it. And you can see the shoulder joint there moves really nice. So I got some really nice flexibility here. The forearm seemed a little bit boring, so I just took an extra piece of metal tubing here, a little dab of super glue, glued that on, and then I thought maybe some kind of little rod, maybe like it's a hydraulic rod or something. Now this little piece here is a washer with 2 magnets in it, and then I have this little saw blade from our 1M Robots project we did 2 years ago. This was a scrap piece, ended up too small. I think if I glue that magnet into the arm of the robot, I should be able to use that pretty nice. So here I'm just doing a little bit of hot glue, dropping the magnet in. I'll let that dry. I'll do a little bit of CA glue just to seal that in a little bit better. And voila. So we got one claw hand and then the saw arm that maybe he can do some chopping action. And the cool thing is my movability with this and the flexibility, I can almost do some play where he can reach over and be grabbing the arm. So that's kind of cool. Just adding a couple little details on the front there, a little hose in the back, and you can see I'm stuffing it down that little hole where I took that little clip out earlier in the beginning of the video. All right, I'm going to pop this apart and take it outside, and I'm going to prime it. And then after priming it, I painted it silver, and this looks amazing. I'm going to do a whole bunch of weathering on this. If you've seen any of my videos, I've done a lot of this. I use a black wash and just lather it on, lather it off. You can see the differences there. That's pretty cool. Now, I got a little excited, and I just started doing a black wash over everything, and then I realized, oh, wait, I wanted to put some decals on here. So I went ahead and kind of slowed down a little bit, put a couple decals on the front, a little kind of caution one in the back there, and then got back to weathering. Now, the cool thing about this little robot is I am thinking about, over the next year, focusing on robot-themed ideas for all of my builds. I know on my builds I kind of do all kinds of stuff, and I am all over the place. I really like to do all kinds of things, but I think I want to be a little bit more deliberate on my YouTube channel this year and focus on robots. I don't know if I can stick to it or not, but this guy here is almost like the boss, you know. He's like the head guy. I think I'm gonna call him like Professor Malcolm is kind of where I was going with that. So I don't know. I don't know how he'll play into our world, but let's start with Professor Malcolm and see how he does. Now I found these tank treads, and if I trim off these little pieces here, I think I can wrap it around, and it's going to give a really nice finishing touch to this. And I really, really like how this looks. So let's put this back together and call this one done. Okay, so this build had a couple of twists and turns. There was a couple spots where I just didn't know what to do, and I wasn't sure of myself. I wasn't sure if it was just super bizarre and too weird, but I think in the end, the finished product is pretty cool. So let's do some turnaround shots of this thing, and as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.